Every time a AAA game releases, I've got to know why these obsessive detail hounds feel the need to run to Twitter and point out every little bit of realism that doesn't exist in the game. Anything from your feet not getting residual wet graphics from walking in a puddle, to the windows of a city not all having unique living or office spaces behind them in buildings you don't even go in. You'll have these vast, gorgeous PS5 games that deliver jaw-dropping visuals in every other respect, and people are saying they wasted their money because they can't walk around with wet shoes in a game where that does not even kind of matter. There are layers to this, though. It's not a one-size-fits-all argument because there are different expectations for different kinds of games. If it has realistic graphics, these people want realistic everything. They want every single aspect of nature and life to be present and accounted for. They want residual wetness on clothes. They want kicked up dust and unsettled gravel with every step. They want individual blades of grass reacting uniquely to the wind. If it happens in nature, it needs to be fully and accurately represented in the game, or it sucks and it's lazy. Compare this to a Pokemon game, for example, where all people want is details and flourishes that aren't obviously a flat cloned JPEG that's been pasted a million times throughout the world, and for it to run without egregious pop in and slow down and mighty morphin textures that ooze and transform as you approach them. Hardware discrepancies explain some, but not all, of the expectational differences. Like, yeah, the Switch was inferior in many ways, but you could compare Switch games against each other and still see humongous differences. Like, they made Super Mario Odyssey look amazing in the first year of the Switch's lifespan, and to this day it outshines most of what came after. I don't need a game to create a one-to-one copy of real life in order to be worth a damn. It just needs to try to do more than the bare minimum. Ghost of Yotei is a gorgeous game, and the fact that it doesn't include every water physic in existence is made up for by everything else about it that looks beautiful and detailed, so I don't feel the need to nitpick particular things because they still did overall well on the assignment. But you should judge something like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet differently because the only thing that looked decent in that game was terrestrialization, otherwise the whole thing was subpar. The Switch 2 version boosted the frame rate, which is nice, but the game still fundamentally looks bad. So every nitpick you add to that pile is all the more damning, whereas if you're playing a game where everything else looks good, the odd thing or two that wasn't accounted for is overshadowed by everything that works. Personally, I think people need to curb insane expectations and bolster low ones. Let's expect more of the games that are clearly rushing and or phoning it in, but we don't need to bemoan the games that are clearly killing it because of stupid shit. I'm getting priced out of the game industry. I think a lot of us are. Depending on how many games you buy per year, the $10 price hike to $70 on average means I get 4 or 5 less AAA titles annually for the same money. A couple years ago, I'd have bought Dying Light, The Beast, Silent Hill F, The Outer Worlds 2, Final Fantasy Tactics, and Digimon Time Stranger at launch, but now I gotta wait for sales, man. And I know not all of those are full price games, but it affects your decision making at any price point. And it starts to make you evaluate games based on the amount of content to maximize the bang for your endangered buck. Silent Hill F looks super cool, but am I going to spend $70 on a 12-hour single-player horror game I'll never touch again? Or on franchises I only have a passing interest in, like Ninja Gaiden? At least that's on Game Pass, but even that's going up in price, and the situation is really strangling people's ability to branch out and try new games as opposed to just saving up for what they already know they're going to love. It's going to affect my top 20 game of the year list because I might not even be able to justify buying every game that I think would crack it. Another reason I skipped some of those games for now is because I chose Ghost of Yotei as a more likely high-ranking contender and pre-ordered that instead. Deluxe and Ultimate Editions I just forget about now. Maybe I'll do Deluxe if it comes with 3 days early access and I need a head start on video ideas, but otherwise $80? $100? Just to reserve access to content you won't be interested in anymore by the time it releases? The more time passes, the more absolutely fucking insane it is that Mario Kart World is $80. People dropped that game so goddamn fast, and yeah, it will endure as a go-to party game for people who don't really play games, although did they even buy the Switch 2 to begin with? The pricing woes didn't start with Mario Kart World as much as it loves being a standout offender, but dude, Nintendo, what the hell, man? They're changing CEOs now. Bowser's out, and this new lady's gonna be in, and I don't know how much of a difference that'll make, if any, but yeah, a year like this deserves some shakeups at that company. $80 for Mario Kart. 50 if you got the Mario Kart Switch 2 bundle. Good thing they were out of those immediately. People swept them off store shelves so they could gather dust on their own. We don't need to keep talking about the Switch 2 having no games, though. I'll be pacified next year when Fire Emblem comes out. A silver lining to this money thing is that the very best games of 2025 have all been not full price. Split Fiction was 50, Expedition 33 was 45, Blueprints was free on PS Plus, otherwise 40, Hades 2, which went 1.0 this year, was 30, Silksong was free on Game Pass, otherwise 20, and as of yet, I would not say that any game above 60 bucks has been better than any of those. Granted, I'm not that far into Yote yet. Looking ahead to what we know of the rest of 2025, I don't see anything better either. The indies are killing it. There's always a couple standouts each year, but they are really dominating in 2025, and I haven't even identified The Stray yet because every indie game I've heard of getting praise is earning it. There's still time, though. I'm sure the Game Awards are going to spotlight some bullshit with 13 Steam reviews a game journalist cousin made, but we'll see. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, again, like, share, and subscribe. Watch all my other videos while drinking coffee at 11 p.m., and I'll see you guys next time.